Hello folks, Scott here with my 10 card 1 kit video featuring the Love From Lizi May 2019 card kit. Lizi is calling this card kit the Snap Happy card kit. And this is full of such a huge assortment of stamps and papers and stickers and dies and ribbons and embellishments and ephemera that it kind of feels like a free-for-all. You could make almost any card you can imagine using the pieces from this card kit. Now, as usual, I do take the 5 card stocks provided in the kit, and I do make A2 card bases with all of them. Let's dig right in and see what Lizi inspired from me this month. So for my first card, of course, I go to the black cardstock. And for some reason, I was really enamored of this Seriously banner that was in our ephemera. So our first card is a big seriously? I couldn't say seriously that's on this ephemera banner without saying it as a question. So I figured, well, let's put a big question mark on the front of this card. So I turned to my silhouette portrait and cut out this big question mark from a piece of our pattern paper. I did cut a little mat for that from a piece of my craft cardstock. I glued those two together, mounted those to the card front with some foam tape. I added the Seriously banner over the top of that with some more foam tape. I added in a few of the white leafy stickers from our sticker set, just to echo the white Seriously sentiment here, and goes along with the black leaves on the edge of that banner. Seriously? I didn't know you were that old. Happy birthday. This has a couple of those heart stickers on that inside sentiment. I know I'm getting to the age where if I'm not saying this to somebody's saying it to me. I didn't know you were that old. Happy birthday. I did create that sentiment using my Silhouette software that is with the American typewriter font and the Grutch shaded font. That kind of echoes the font that's used on that Seriously banner. A few sequins from our sequin mix to add a little sparkle and shine to the front of this card. I love black birthday cards. Now, I found myself drawn to those craft ephemera pieces in our ephemera pack. We had a good number of them. They were all craft. I thought they really looked nice. I think the simple fact that a lot of them had gold foil on them kind of drew my eye to them. For my second card, we go to a white card base and we get our hello card with that lovely craft ephemera piece with the rose and all the leaves. Now, I know you can color on craft with colored pencils, but I thought I would try using my Stabilo pens. I thought I'd give them a try and see how they worked on this craft cardstock that the ephemera is made from, and it came out really nicely. I actually got some decent shading in there. I used those markers full strength, no water added, just blended the colors together. A really nice rose. All of those leaves look great. And of course that ephemera piece is gold foiled, shiny, 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 shiny. Now, I did take that ephemera piece and I temporarily taped it down to this grid pattern paper from our pattern papers, and I fussy cut around the 3 edges of that, leaving a big rectangular anchor on the left side here. Now, I wanted to pull that pattern paper into the gold foil that's on this ephemera, so I took my ultrafine tip Sharpie in gold and I added gold lines to that grid. I just drew those lines in with a ruler. Every other black line gets a gold line. I think that pulls that pattern paper and that ephemera piece together very nicely. I did reach for my Lucky Clover Distress Oxide ink to do the ink blending around our focal point here. And because I was doing that directly on the card front, I put the ephemera piece and its mat on the back side of the card and put it on my light table so I could see the position of these pieces on the front of the card, and then using my cheapo, life-changing brushes. Distressed the edges of that. Let me show you. So figure that this is the front of your card. You put it on your light board, and there you can see the shape of your fussy cut piece. That allows you to then go in and ink blend softly, following the contours of your cut out piece. I thought that was really fun, and it gave us a really nice effect on the front of this card. The Hello stamp is a stamp from our stamp set. I did stamp that with Versamark ink and emboss that with the Love From Lizi Emerald City embossing powder. We got this in one of our kits last year. That's our fun Hello card. 3 little sequins underneath that sentiment brings all of the gold together. A nice, fairly straightforward, simple Hello card with a lovely rose. For my next card on one of the Teal card bases, we go to You Make Me Smile. Really pretty card. I really like this a lot. You Make Me Smile, of course, is a stamp from the stamp set. I was looking for a die that would cut out this stamp. When I came about this is a Doris quotes die that I've had in my stash. I don't think I've ever used it. I'm sure I bought it on sale somewhere. That sentiment fit perfectly with this die. Now, of course, because this is a solid die and is not open, I did die cut my cardstock first, and then I stamped this sentiment. I stamped this sentiment using Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink, and then, of course, embossed that with some clear embossing powder. Now, I knew I wanted to use this nice teal colored pattern paper on this, and I was looking for some kind of a mat that I could put behind this speech bubble when I realized I could just do a negative mat through the pattern paper. So I literally just took that speech bubble die, laid it on my pattern paper, traced around that with a pencil, cut that out of the pattern paper with a craft knife. I did go in and add just a little touch of the peacock feather ink around the edges of that cutout. Then I glued that pattern paper to the teal card base. I outlined all of the pattern paper with the teal mirror peel-offs. That goes all the way around the edges. Of course, You Make Me Smile, even when I feel like crying. I couldn't leave that sentiment alone. Heaven knows, puppies make me smile. So I thought we'd make it a little more personal. I, of course, did that with my Silhouette software. That is the Noteworthy font. I did, of course, add the speech bubble to the front of this card using some foam tape, so there is dimension there. You make me smile, even when I feel like crying. Now that's a feat. So this card did get posted on the Love From Lizi monthly challenge blog. So some of you may have seen this. This is on the violet card base. We've got an Oh Snap card with 3 of that great little camera. This really feels like one of those great little Instamatic cameras. I really like this card. I was dying to color something, so I stamped that camera 3 times on some Bristol smooth cardstock. I used VersaFine Onyx Black ink on that and my Misty positioner to get everything lined up nice and straight and spaced evenly. I did reach for my Stabilo pens again. Since we were on that Bristol Smooth cardstock, I thought I'd use those Stabilo markers to color all 3 of these cameras. That purple, or violet if you like, is a great match for the violet card base. I stamped the Oh Snap sentiment on the bottom of this and used some light blue marker to highlight that outside of that snap. I did use a little bit of brown for the straps on these, and I was coloring these little dots around the lens with my Sakura Stardust gel pen when I thought, well, it'd be nice if I had some kind of a gem or something that would go inside of that lens. So I started digging, and lo and behold, these are some old, very inexpensive Big O gems from Oriental Trading Company. Now, I did have a violet and a green gem that matched perfectly. I did not have an orange gem, so I just grabbed one of the clear gems from that batch and colored that with an orange alcohol marker. That works perfectly for changing the color. A fun, very blingy camera card. Oh snap! I can think of lots of occasions to use a card like this. Nothing on the inside. Oh snap! Nice bright colors on this. So while I was picking colors for this, I of course realized that violet and yellow are perfect complementary colors to each other. So I thought it would be interesting to try and bring in our sunshine yellow peel-offs on the other violet card base. So we get our smile card. Look at all those sparkly sequins. I did take a Gentleman Crafters oval grid with 12 sections. There'll be a link to this on my website. And I used that, just stuck my card down in the middle of that and used those lines to show me where to lay my peel-offs. Those peel-offs are the large, medium, and small peel-offs. Of course, their flat edges are butted up right against each other. A nice little sunburst effect we get with that. I stamped the smile stamp from our stamp set on a piece of my violet cardstock, and then I embossed that with the Love From Lizi Lemon Zest Party embossing powder. That has those little holographic pieces in it. It's the only yellow embossing powder that I have, so I thought I'd give it a try and see how it worked. I thought it came out really quite nice on that dark purple. So I just fussy cut that out by hand. I attached that on top of our peel off sunburst with some foam squares, scattered a bunch of the purple sequins from our sequin mix around this card, and then grabbed one of those faux leather pom-poms. I thought the pom-pom really echoed the sunburst on this card quite nicely and was a unique, fun embellishment on the front of this card. Now, of course, I'm not going to send a smile card to anybody that doesn't say anything but smile. So I remember a stamp from an earlier Love From Lizi kit that I thought would go really good with this. So we've got smile on the outside and happiness looks gorgeous on you on the inside. That sentiment is from the June 2018 Love From Lizi Maker's Gonna Make stamp set. Happiness looks gorgeous on you. I stamped it on a piece of my plain yellow cardstock, stamped that with the onyx black ink on the inside. Smile, because happiness looks gorgeous on you. Fun card. I love that violet cardstock. Those violet sequins go perfectly. A nice, fun, bright, and sparkly card. Okay, so now I've used all 4 of the sentiment stamps. Hello, you make me smile, oh snap, and smile. I've used all 4 of the sentiments from our stamp set. So how about a pun? Let's see if we got a pun on a yellow card base. Again, it's got some of my yellow cardstock on there too. Boy, that's a long story. On a yellow card base, we get, you can't plant flowers if you haven't bought any. Happy spring. We had those plant stickers in our sticker pack. Some of them have gold foiling on them. They were all in a row on one sticker sheet, and I thought it would be great fun to use those on a card. I cut a 1-inch piece of that satin gold specialty cardstock. I cut an 1/8 inch strip of that striped pattern paper, glued those together. I was putting those on the front of my card base when I realized that I would get some really heavy seams if these stickers went from one layer of cardstock to another layer of cardstock. So I just cut the front of this card base away and inlaid my little tabletop between the 2 pieces of sunshine yellow cardstock. So that's where that yellow cardstock comes in. That's going over the back of that gap so that the table and the card front are all on the same level. That minimized the seam on most of these plants. You still get a little if you look on just the right, there you go, especially on that middle one, you can see it, in just the right angle. You can't plant flowers if you haven't bought any. I printed that sentiment directly on the card base using the Noteworthy font. Once I got everything attached and glued together, I added a few strips of that clear gold peel-offs from Lizi. Those are the ones that had that little strip of clear running down between the little pinstripes of gold. I added those to the top, and at the bottom of the table here, a nice little addition of some shine to that. I added one of the gold asterisks at the right side of this sentiment here. I, of course, stamped this on a piece of my yellow cardstock that's die cut with one of the Gina K oval dies. The mat is cut with the Gina K oval die. That is stamped with Versamark ink and embossed with the Golden Crown embossing powder from Love From Lizi. You can't plant flowers if you haven't bought any. Happy spring! I think that's actually quite a funny pun. So we had that great thank you die in our embellishment bag this month. So I cut that thank you die out of our satin gold specialty cardstock, and we've got this card, a thank you card with all sorts of gold foil stickers around that. Ooh, look at that shine. I cut that thank you die out of our gold specialty cardstock. I then matted that on a piece of black glitter cardstock from my stash. I just traced that die on my black glitter paper and fussy cut that out, glued those both together, added those to this card front with some foam tape. Now, I did take some time to figure out this floral arrangement around this die using my non-stick craft mat. And I just took all those stickers and arranged them on the craft mat. So that's how I came up with this arrangement. I was also particularly enamored of this Unforgettable sticker that was in the kit. I was dying to use that because we've got unforgettable, that's what you are. And I figure if somebody deserves a thank you, then they're certainly unforgettable. I did stick that white sticker down to my black glitter cardstock and then fussy cut around that, just following the edges of the sticker. Then I foam taped that up to a little 5/8 inch strip of that glitter paper, glued down to the front of this card base. I printed this "That's What You Are" sentiment using my Silhouette software, and that's using the Courier font. I did rearrange the flowers a little bit on their transfer from the craft mat to this card front. I really like how it all came together. I did end up adding a few of the white leaf stickers to kind of pull some of the whiteness from the Unforgettable sticker up into our arrangement here. I did add one of those faux leather bows on the bottom here. It fit between these two leaf clusters almost perfectly, and I think it adds a really nice touch to this. That's in the gold. That's the gold bow. Thank you. Unforgettable, that's what you are. Nothing on the inside of this card. A nice thank you card. Again, lots of shine. I really like those gold foil stickers. Can you tell? Now, from the minute I saw that calendar sheet of stickers with all the days and the months and the seasons and numbers and everything on it, I knew this card was in my future. On the other sunshine yellow card base, we get winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got a friend. I couldn't resist. When I saw the winter, spring, summer, and fall stickers, I was like, that's a card I'm going to have to make. Now, I used my Silhouette software to fiddle around with this sentiment on the front here, trying to get it just the right size, just the right spacing, just the right fit to get printed on this round piece of ephemera from our ephemera pack. I finally sent that to the printer and got that printed on that. I also did that little oar while I was doing that. You can see my little oars there, trying them in many different font sizes. Ultimately printed that on some cardstock and punched that out with just a plain standard hole punch. I glued the printed circle down to the card front and then used foam tape to mount all of these stickers and that oar to the front of that. Winter, spring, summer, fall. What a great friendship card. This is that great big ephemera piece from our kit. I thought it went really well with this card. I mounted that with foam tape to the front of our card, and then I went in with all of the little botanical stamps in our stamp set and stamped those all the way around this ephemera piece. I used black soot distress oxide ink, and I used all of those botanicals around this bouquet and the two hearts in the bottom two corners. That worked really nicely, and that black soot was a really good match for the blacks on this ephemera piece and for the blacks on our stickers, the blacks on this ephemera. Of course, two of the sunshine yellow peel-offs going down the right and left side. Those are those new Sway peel-offs. Now, I was going to use my Nouveau drops for highlights on these flowers, but I actually used those Nouveau drops on this arrangement here. You look closely, you can see them. There's one there, there's one there, one there, one there. On black, those Nouveau drops almost disappear. Well, they don't look pink, that's for sure. So I didn't think that I wanted to use those, especially on this big center flower, because all of those dots were black. So I reached for my Studio Katia Cupid's Kiss crystal collection, and those are what I used to embellish these flowers. 2 or 3 different pinks, some nice shine. Of course, those stickers have some good shine to them. You've got a friend. Now, I still have a couple of camera stamps from our stamp set left to use, and one of those cameras had a flash on it. So, of course, I couldn't help myself, and we had to make Let's Find a Darkroom interactive card flash. Let's find a dark room and see what develops. Now there's a camera button for you. Flash. You can see that very nicely. Let me see if I can explain this to you fairly succinctly. Here's all the pieces I used for this card. The top 3 pieces are all cut with the 5" by 3 1/4" Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die. I die cut the heart in the pattern paper using a Doris Nesting Hearts die. I stacked the pattern paper and the second sheet of paper, which is actually Bristol Smooth cardstock. I stacked those 2 pieces on top of each other to get the placement for the camera stamp and stamped that with onyx black ink. I cut a tiny hole through the center of the flash. Then I stacked the 2 white card pieces together, marked the hole on the 3rd piece, and die cut a circle centered on that hole on the 3rd piece of cardstock. Now, this black piece is cut to 5 1/4" by 4 inches, so it'll give us a thin mat, and I lined up the circle die on that piece as well and cut it out. The last piece here is the teal card base, and of course I marked where that little hole in the camera flash is on that card as well. Stacked together, all of these pieces make up my card front. I did the circle die cuts so any light bleed would create a bit of a halo of light around the flash. I think I can even show you a little bit of my wiring for this. We've got the negative circuit coming down this way and entering into my switch. The switch is just a piece of paper folded over. We got the positive side coming down the other side of the light over the top of the switch and then inside. So that's your positive, positive, negative, negative. If you take your battery and place it inside, close the lid, and the light works. This, of course, is done with the chibi lights. Again, thank you, Andrea. My last fun accomplishment on this was being able to stamp that push stamp. That's from the My Favorite Things Interactive Labels stamp set. I was able to stamp that on one of those puffy hearts from our embellishment bag. I did use some archival black ink for that. That's 3 of those puffy hearts from the kit. I hand cut a little frame for this heart using that black glitter cardstock. Printed this sentiment using my Silhouette software and cut that out again with my Everyday Sentiment die. I did actually glue one of those little Studio Katia clear gems. There you go, you can see it. I glued one of those tiny clear gems over the hole on that flash. I think that really intensifies that light pretty good. That's almost like the flash of a camera. I couldn't resist another interactive light up card for you. Let's find a dark room and see what develops. Now, I did share that final camera stamp from this stamp set and my coloring of that on Facebook and Instagram. So that's for my last card this month. On a white card base, we've got congrats, a nice congrats card. But where's that camera stamp? There it is, right there. Enjoy the moment. We've got a great fun congratulations pop-up card for you. Now, I actually took some time to film the assembly of this card for you. So, Bob, let's go to the replay. I did stamp this camera image on a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. I stamped that with VersaFine Onyx Black ink and then embossed that with my Love From Lizi Golden Crown embossing powder. I like using embossing powder on top of black ink. I think it adds a lot of depth and dimension to your embossing powder. I tried to match the colors that were on the pattern paper, and again, I am using my Stabilo markers. They move so well on this Bristol Smooth cardstock. So here is my image all colored up. I'm going to fussy cut this out down those 2 straight lines down the side and then across the top of that. That gives us a piece that is about 3 inches tall in height with a nice square bottom. That's going to be our action piece. Here's our 2 card pieces. We've got 2 pieces of cardstock. Both of these are cut at 4 1/4 by 7 1/2. 2 pieces of cardstock cut at 4 1/4 by 7 1/2. Then both of these pieces are scored at 5 inches and at 6 inches. Very easy. Both the front and the back are exactly the same. I'll reinforce these creases here with my bone folder, both the front and the back. We can put those together and you'll see that this is how the card operates. So I will take that front piece and we're stamping the pull here sentiment from the My Favorite Things Interactive Labels stamp. And we'll stamp that on both sides of the front piece, just the front piece. Now I'll take that pattern paper and cover up all of the panels on the front side of this card. This piece is 4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. That gives us a nice 1/8 of an inch white mat around all of the sides of this. I will add some extra little pieces on either side of the sentiment on both sides of the card here. That pulls it into the rest of the card. And then we've got to cover up those 2 spots that open up when the card is opened up. Everything's covered with that great pattern paper now. I think we can cover the back of those last flaps with some score tape. That's what's going to join this card together. We'll do that on both the front and the back. Now we want to score the bottom right corner of our camera piece at a 45-degree angle to make it work for this card. So with my Martha Stewart scoreboard and the little envelope template. I'm scoring the bottom right corner of that camera stamped piece at about a 1/2 inch and folding that forward. That's going to be our action piece. We will cover the back of that triangle piece with some score tape. Make sure and burnish that down really good after we trim off the edges. This is going to be the only attachment holding this piece onto our card. We'll remove the liner from that score tape, and this piece goes on that open flap of the Z-fold on the back of the card. Right there, you can see the action that's created when that Z-fold closes. Put both pieces together, check to see that we can see the camera and the sentiment as it pops open. That looks good to me. Let's burnish that down. That's where that's going to live. Let's go ahead and attach both the front and the back together. We'll pull back the liner tape on our score tape and attach both the front and the back together, left and right sides, and then we have our card completely put together. The pop-up works. The Congrats is a die from Lawn Fawn, the Scripty Congrats die. I cut that out of a piece of our gold specialty cardstock. I also cut that out of a piece of black craft foam and glued those two together. I like sticking those underneath my Misty to let them dry. The Misty, of course, has a nice soft bottom. So we glue the Congrats to the front of that card. Again, let it dry under the Misty. We'll add some sequins to the front of this card. I really enjoy this card quite a lot. You can make that camera pop up slowly, or you can make that camera pop up almost magically. A great Congrats card, a fun interactive card. That's my 10 cards, folks, for the Love from Lizi May 2019 Snap Happy Card Kit. I'm really pleased with the wide variety of cards we got here. We've got birthday cards, hello cards, thank you cards, friendship cards, Valentine cards, congratulations cards, happy spring, smile. I tell you, there's so much stuff in this kit. You can make a card for any occasion. Now, of course, I have tons of supplies left over. I did use a great deal of stickers. I am not a big sticker person, and I used a lot more stickers than I thought I ever would. Those are lots of fun to play with. And again, lots of different options here, from white stickers to gold foil stickers to black and white stickers to colored stickers. So many options in those stickers. I did use about half of the pattern papers. I used a little bit of the gold specialty paper. I didn't get to that pearlescent specialty paper. I used a decent amount of the yellow peel-offs. I did use a little bit of most everything in our embellishment bag. Okay, I used just a tiny little bit of the pink Nouveau drops on the black card, so I don't know if that counts. The only thing I really didn't get to was I really didn't get to any of the ribbon, and I didn't get to those 4 heart dies in our die package. Now, I did play with those a little bit. This is that big heart die with a really nice swirl in the center of it, and that smaller stitched heart die, I actually took some of that ribbon and wove it through those slats in that little heart die cut, tied a little bow there in the center. That really worked very nicely, but I couldn't find a place to use it on one of my cards. So there you go. There's even more options with this kit that I haven't even explored. Now, of course, I do have that fun Snap Happy stamp set that I did manage to use every single one of the stamps in this stamp set. This will find a loving home in my stamp stash. As of posting, this kit is still available at lovefromlizi.com. If you go shopping at Love From Lizi or want to join up with us and become a subscriber, please use my link in the description down below. I really had a great time making these cards. It took me a little while to get into this kit, but I think once I embraced the wide variety of supplies in this kit, we came up with some really fun, great cards, a couple of interactive cards for us all. Congrats, I made it through another one. Enjoy this moment. Thank you so much for joining me, folks. I hope I've been able to inspire your imagination a little bit. I hope I've been able to share a smile and maybe a laugh with you. Please like me, list me, pin me, post me, share me with all of your friends and enemies too. Don't run with scissors, and by all means, happy crafting. If you'd like more detailed information, better pictures, and product links, please visit my website at cardcutups.com.